10th straight win. This is not a take. The most impressive win of the season for them, for sure. They dominate the Steelers, the high floor, rolling Steelers with these amazing superstars getting their thing done on defense. This complete team, this Mike Tomlin, hard knocks energy that everybody's giving out. They're the team, they're the anointed little sexy team that Super Bowl champion Aqib Talib and Luke Kuechly and everybody's saying they're the ones to go and run the Eagles. Crushed them. And they did this in a week that there was some drum uppage of noise, of 50 Shades of last year, or something falling off the rails. That does make it a bigger deal, and it does make it more impressive, and it probably added to their cohesion of a team. That happening, them sticking together against it. A.J. Brown, here he is on his touchdown celebration. Yes, the one he had with his quarterback, Jalen. Just take a listen to this.
That was our moment to tell everybody to shut up, honestly, so yeah, the coaches let the game come to them, and they seen it was loading the box a little bit, and we were on ones, and Jalen got in the rhythm, and it just kind of how the game went.
Eagles haven't needed to air it out like this, so they haven't. No one's been able to slow down Saquon until yesterday. Looking for an update on him. I guess he got hit in the thigh. Who knew that his thigh could be hurt? Who knew? He's kind of a superhero in that way. But Steelers kept him bottled up. Then he had a little bit of an injury. It gave Philly the chance to make a statement here, to do what they wanted to do, which we loved seeing, of course. You're looking at these numbers here, 25 completions, 290 yards, were the most we've seen out of Hurts since September. Just under 3 months ago, okay? He posted his highest completion percentage since October, his best passer rating since the first week of November, a long time ago. It was also the first time that both A.J. and Devontae Smith had over 100 yards in the same game in just under 2 years. And I don't want, by the way, Mr. Smith, Mr. Heisman, as we'll talk to RG3 about Travis Hunter and his Heisman experience and all that. Devontae Smith had what a game. All the A.J. headlines are going to go off. This is what makes it unstoppable. And for this offense to do this against what is a really good Steelers defense, top five, what is left to pick apart with the Eagles? There are no holes. They have answered all of the questions. The only thing I will say is this. It's reasonable to sort of have questions about the Eagles because they were stacked last year and something fell apart. So you're looking for what fell apart. Was it this A.J. Brown thing? Is it this Jalen thing? Now they don't have Brandon Graham. He's dapping up Tom Brady on the sidelines, and they're still rolling. I don't know that you can poke anything into them, but I do understand the human curiosity and with what happened last year and how loaded they are, to have questions about it. But make no mistake, this is the best defense in the league second half of the season. Somehow, as you just saw, FanDuel Sportsbook, not that I want to create my own locker room drama here with my company that I'm partnered with, but the Lions still favored over them, huh? To win the NFC this morning. Detroit plus 190, Eagles plus 250. If I'm an Eagles fan, I'm probably feeling some type of way about that, and I'd like to know how you're feeling. Let's go to the Lions quickly before we bring RG3 on. The onside kick, okay? Wildly talked about this morning, wildly agresivo. Here's what I'll say. I understand. I understand not having the confidence in the banged-up defense, who are so banged up, more banged up than they were going into this game to get a stop. I get it. They had not done it all game. If they kicked that ball deep, it was probably over anyway. So I can't kill them for trying it. And Dan Campbell took all the accountability after the game, all of that. But if you're going to be aggressive, then live aggressive, then stay aggressive. I think they should have gone for 2 right before this, right? A 2-point conversion cuts it to 9. So if you don't get the onside kick and the Bills score a touchdown on that short field like they did, it's still just a 2-possession game, and you still have the prayer of making a comeback. So let's be about it, Dan Campbell, totally. He was interesting sort of saying, and this isn't, by the way, why the Lions lost this game. They lost because they couldn't get any stop all game long, and that's sort of what's been going on with them with this defense. It doesn't mean that their magic is running out. We'll get to Mina Kimes, we'll get to RG3 after this, and I guess we'll take a break right now to bring our Lions. They're still on top, of course. The conference record tiebreaker is theirs. Vikings can join them at 12-2 with a win over the Bears tonight. I can tell you Vikings are not going to be happy because they don't think you're in the show that much today. I can tell you, I don't know if we're going to get to you. We have a whole week to figure it out. The seeding would stay the same heading into week 16. The Packers win in Seattle. Big time ripple effect. The Rams now in first place in the West. They take over that 4 seed. Seahawks loss also clinches a playoff spot for Minnesota. And Commanders, they stay a game up for the last wildcard spot in the NFC. They beat the Saints. They hold any tiebreaker, by the way, over any of those NFC West teams that are right on their tail. Flip it to the AFC. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so here's the deal. The Chiefs and Bills, they both win. KC still up 2 on Buffalo for the 1 seed, still in play. Nobody has secured it. There's uncertainty around Patrick Mahomes, and that ankle makes things complicated. What should they do? Carson Wentz, we're looking at you, kid. The Bills still very much alive in that race. MVP race, I don't know how close that is. We'll get to the Ravens and the Lamar side of things here. They go with a win, a move. Yeah, they move within a game of Pittsburgh for the AFC North lead. Oof. This is getting interesting. They beat the Giants. Steelers lost to Philly. Broncos, all they need to do. Sean Payton, Bo Nix, you got to win one of the last 3. You got one in LA up against the Chargers this week, short week. Big win over Indy 1. Happy Sean Payton. It looks like he's growing out his hair. I like it. Chargers have now lost 3 of 4. Their defense really struggled against Tampa, but they're still 2 up on the Colts, Dolphins, and Bengals for the last wild card spot. Taruski. There's a lot going on, you guys. Week 16 kicks off in just a couple of days. Hello. Hi. Hi, world. Hi. Hi there. RG3 Mina Kimes on the show. They'll keep breaking this down with me. Tell me what they think, who moves, who's interesting, who might be an underdog. As far as yesterday, we got to start with last night, right? The Packers. Don't tell me they can't. They certainly can. They go and they just inserted their will. They dominated the Seahawks team out the gate, quick start. After that loss, they needed this one, and they got it exactly how they wanted to. Jordan Love looking aggressive. I know people have their questions about him, which I do think are valid, but not right now, not after that, okay? A lot of the 12s mad at me for calling them a cute little fan base. Jokingly, of course, to Luke Kuechly, to the like, to the Rams. But this got out of control very quickly and in enemy territory. It felt over by the end of the first quarter. Jordan Love, 2 drives, these amazing touchdowns. The way the defense is playing, even without Jair Alexander, what I want to focus on is this D, because this is what makes them scarier than last year's edition of this squad. Even before Geno left the game, they were dominating. This is a tough quarterback. I almost swore, I'm not gonna. 7 sacks, 12 quarterback hits, 2 big interceptions. So shout out, by the way, Edgerrin Cooper. What a linebacker this guy. Is he the best linebacker they have? He made plays in all those categories in his return after missing a month. The Packers shut down every phase of the Seahawks offense. They weren't doing this at any point last year. This makes them scarier. It makes them scarier in the NFC North because you're looking at what the Lions don't have on defense. We're looking like a complete team. We're looking at a team that's going on a little run. They rank in the top 10 in every major defensive category right now. In the bottom half of the league in all of these categories except for scoring defense a year ago. This is a big change, something to really pay attention to down the stretch. And they've done it without one of their best players in Jair in that stretch. I also want to say sometimes these numbers can lie a little bit because it is about your competition. Who are you playing? Green Bay. Who are they playing? They've already played 10 offenses that rank in the top optimal offenses, top half of the league, including the Lions twice, and that's the team you want to be, and it's also what they did to the Seahawks, who they took down and stifled last night with Geno and without Geno. I'm not saying it's exactly the same, relax Chiefs fans, but the DC switch from Joe Barry to Jeff Hafley, it's giving Bob Sutton to Spags energy, okay? And that's what we saw in Kansas City a year ago. Chiefs fans, I'm not saying that. I know you're feeling it this morning. We love you. We're going to talk about the Chiefs. Of course, they play on Christmas. They play the Texans on Saturday before they get to take on those Steelers at a big loss. We're going to get to all of it right here. But I think it's a big part of why we're seeing Green Bay getting the fourth best odds, okay, to win the NFC at plus 700. By the way, Eagles, we'll get to the Eagles. Not the interesting FanDuel. They're a wild.
Hey, what's up, Eagles Nation? Welcome back to Eagles Nest News, your go-to channel for all things Philadelphia Eagles. If you're a true Birds fan, you know that the Philadelphia Eagles are on an absolute tear right now, and their recent performance just might be the most impressive of the season. With a 10th straight win, they have once again proven why they're one of the best teams in the NFL, if not the best. Today, we're diving into their dominant victory over the Pittsburgh Steelers, breaking down key moments from the game and talking about what this means for the Eagles' Super Bowl aspirations as they continue their quest for a second championship in a row. If you're enjoying the content, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss an update. Now, let's get into it. A complete team performance. Let's start with the game against the Steelers. The Eagles didn't just win, they dominated. Going up against a team that many considered a dark horse in the AFC, a Steelers squad loaded with talent and hyped by their hard-nosed coach Mike Tomlin, the Eagles showed exactly why they're the team to beat this season. The Steelers, led by their defense and some real superstar players, were supposed to be the tough challenge that could slow down the Eagles' high-powered offense. But what did we see? A Philadelphia team that crushed them in every phase of the game. From Jalen Hurts looking as composed as ever, to the offense finding rhythm with A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith, the Eagles didn't just win, they made a statement. Let's talk about Jalen Hurts for a second. Hurts had a phenomenal game. With 25 completions for 290 yards, he had his best passing performance since early September. His accuracy was on point, posting his highest completion percentage since October. This is significant, because it shows that Hurts is still growing and improving as a quarterback. In a season where many were asking questions after last year's Super Bowl loss, Hurts has delivered on every front, silencing any critics who thought he might not be able to carry this team. And then there's A.J. Brown. The man was on fire. Brown hauled in another incredible performance, and his touchdown celebration with Jalen Hurts was a message to everyone. The Eagles are here, they're in sync, and they're ready to prove everyone wrong. But let's not forget Devonta Smith. His over 100-yard game alongside A.J. Brown marked the first time in nearly 2 years that both wideouts have surpassed 100 yards in the same game. This is exactly the kind of offensive balance the Eagles needed. But it wasn't just the offense. Let's talk about the defense. The Eagles' defense was dominant as well, especially in containing the Steelers' running game. The Steelers have a great back in Najee Harris, but the Eagles completely shut him down, forcing the Steelers to rely on their passing game, which was never going to be enough to beat Philly. Even when the game got tight at times, the Eagles' defense stepped up when needed, reminding everyone that they may have the best defense in the league. Overcoming the noise. This victory was made even more impressive considering the distractions leading up to the game. There were whispers about whether the Eagles were starting to falter, with many recalling how the team's performance dipped last year after a great start. Fans and pundits alike were wondering, is something falling apart? But as we've seen time and time again, the Eagles have weathered the storm. Despite injuries, despite the questions surrounding A.J. Brown's connection with Jalen Hurts, despite the absence of key players like Brandon Graham, this team has kept its foot on the gas. And you can bet that this win against a highly touted Steelers team will shut down any talk of the Eagles slipping. They're unbeatable right now. Special teams drama and aggression. Speaking of aggressive, let's talk about the special teams moment that's been generating a lot of buzz, the onside kick. While the Steelers tried to make a comeback, the Eagles executed with precision and aggressiveness, doing what needed to be done to seal the win. But let's not ignore the fact that this win also took place in a week where other teams, like the Lions, were heavily favored over the Eagles in some circles. And yet, as we saw, the Eagles proved their dominance once again, taking care of business against a good Steelers team. This raises a key point. As we approach the latter half of the season, The Eagles continue to prove their status as the top NFC contender, regardless of what others might say. For any Eagles fan watching the odds, seeing the Lions favored over Philly just might sting a little, but it also adds fuel to the fire. The Eagles thrive on being doubted, and every time people sleep on them, they show exactly why they are Super Bowl contenders. So where does this leave us heading into the final stretch of the season? The Philadelphia Eagles are on a roll, and with no clear weaknesses in sight, they look like one of the most complete teams in the NFL. The offense is firing on all cylinders, with Hurts, Brown, and Smith proving they're a trio that can't be stopped. The defense is relentless, the special teams are efficient, and the coaching staff continues to make the right calls. This team is ready to do whatever it takes to bring a championship back to Philly. While some might have questioned whether the Eagles could repeat their dominant performance from last season, this 10-game winning streak should silence any doubters. They've answered every question and handled every challenge thrown their way. With games coming up against tough teams, the Eagles' focus, discipline, and elite talent will be the deciding factors in whether they can finish the regular season strong and head into the playoffs with the momentum they need. For now, all we can do is sit back and enjoy the ride. But if you're an Eagles fan, you should be feeling good. The road to the Super Bowl is wide open, and it's hard to see anyone who can stop them from reaching their goal. Call to action. What do you think, Eagles fans? Do you believe this team is truly unstoppable? Or are there still some concerns that need to be addressed? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. And as always, if you enjoyed today's breakdown, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay up to date on everything happening with our birds. There's so much more to come, and we don't want you to miss any of it. Thanks for tuning into Eagles Nest News. Until next time, fly Eagles fly.